Hello, everyone. I'm Ian Nicholas, joined by Cortland Parrott for another episode of the Rams Revealed podcast, where we have yet another terrific guest with us today, Kristin Woods, a gym and health teacher at New Canaan High School, but well known in the New Canaan athletic community as the girls lacrosse coach at New Canaan High School. Miss Woods, how are you doing, and how is the quarantine treating you so far?
We're doing pretty well. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for coming.
With a 6, 5, and 3-year-old, it's always an interesting day.
Yeah.
I definitely miss school, and I miss being in PE classes and health classes, and then obviously the lacrosse end of it being spring right now. But we've been keeping pretty busy. I've put together a lacrosse curriculum for virtual learning. And the girls have been doing a really good job of, staying active and doing wall ball, and we do virtual Zoom workouts.
I see that over on Twitter. Yeah, on Twitter.
Yeah, this week we're doing 2 of them. And my assistant coach, she is amazing. She's a personal trainer, Madison Strauss, and she leads them. And a lot of it, I enjoy doing it. So I'm like, come on, girls, let's all do it. We've had like over 50 kids on the Zoom workouts. So we're going to try and get the alumni involved. I'm going to send out an email to the alumni tonight because we have a Zoom workout tomorrow at 2:30.
Yeah, and you have some notable alumni, which we'll get to a little later. But we want to start back in your when you first started playing lacrosse. What led you to lacrosse? What made you start? Was there any parent influence of that, or did you just start picking it up?
It's an interesting story. I did not start playing lacrosse until freshman year of high school. At that point in Connecticut, there were no youth programs, only in New Canaan, Darien, and Greenwich. Girls. So the girls program in Wilton didn't start until I was in high school. And I actually helped coach when I was in high school because no one really knew the game. And it was a very different game back then in the aspect of like there was no restraining lines and everybody on the field could go everywhere. There were no out of bounds. So it was, if the ball was thrown, whoever was closest to the ball got it. And luckily I had speed and I enjoyed running, so I would come up with the ball quite a bit, even if I didn't have the best stick work. But no, I started playing as a freshman in high school because that's when everybody started. It wasn't, even normal to start before then. I played, soccer and softball and basketball. Basketball was the biggie. It's very similar to girls lacrosse. And so, if you have all those skills between basketball and soccer, and even some skills from softball, they translate. And I was always an active kid. I always enjoyed, moved around, swimming, diving, all that, water polo in the summer, why not, So I was always active, and my parents always encouraged me to try new things. So as a freshman in high school, I went out for the lacrosse team, and, it was definitely an interesting time to get involved in the game because as a freshman, as a senior in high school, there were only like 22 teams in the whole state. And now there's about 80.
Wow.
So the sport has grown a considerable amount. I graduated in 99 from Wilton, and it was our first FCX championship. We had never won an FCX. So I was on the team that won the first FCX championship in Wilton. And then from Wilton High School, I went to Penn State.
Yep. And
I played 4 years at Penn State. And I liked Penn State so much, I stayed for 5th year and helped coach. And that's really where sort of my coaching career began.
So in a sense, because you were pretty new to the game of lacrosse because there wasn't a big program in Wilton before you got to high school, and you played pretty much every sport in the book that you possibly could, what was the moment in your high school career? Because you were a 3-sport varsity athlete. You played basketball. As you mentioned, you love basketball, lacrosse, and you also ran cross country, and you were a captain in a lot of them. So when did you know that lacrosse for you? What was that moment or that game in high school where you knew that you wanted to continue past high school into college and maybe into coaching?
Probably my junior year. I feel like there's a lot of growth between sophomore and junior year in athletics. And sophomore year, I was coming into my own. I was starting, as a sophomore. But junior year, I could take over games, and it was a lot easier to, play when you knew the game better. And you had a lot of, out of season stuff going on at that point. But I think junior year was the year that I really figured it out.
Great.
And in that high school run at Wilton High School, you won the Melissa Nickel Award for the top female student athlete at the high school. You were also an All-American honorable mention and MVP of the SVS. So was that just you pushing yourself? Was that a whole team thing, or was that really just you kind of, like you said, taking over games, would you say?
Where on earth did you guys dig all this up? That's what I'd like to know.
We have our sources.
Nothing illegal, but we did some digging.
No, it was a whole team effort. I had a lot of girls that I played with, and they also, ran cross country with me and played basketball, and they went on to play, one of my best friends, Whitney Horton, to play at UPenn. Another girl who is now my sister-in-law.
Wow.
She came to Penn State a year after I went. So she was a junior when I was a senior. And, there's another girl played at Notre Dame. There was a lot of, solid athletes on the team when I was a senior that helped us along the way. That definitely helped our success too.
So you were able to build that program with your great teammates in your 4 years at Wilton in the first 4 years of the program. And then, as you mentioned a second ago, you went to Penn State as a midfielder, and you accomplished a lot of great things there, including in your senior year, you were the captain of the team, or one of the captains. They were 13th ranked in the country. And then you were also named, again, a big theme in your career is the academics as well. You were an academic All-Big selection. And then obviously after career, you stay as an undergrad assistant coach. So tell us, and then in 2003 as well, you won the Scholar Athlete Award. So tell us how important it is to you, because obviously you're a teacher now, how important it is, the academics for you, how important it was for you back then, and how you prioritized it, and how do you get that message to your players today that the academics is as key, if not more important than the athletics?
It is more important. It's always important to not only have that drive on the field, but the drive in the classroom, and learn how to do goal setting, and learn that, even though you might not want to do something, you got to get it done. And, just the lessons you learn on the field translate into the classroom, and the stuff that you need to, put your mind to, or have some sort of passion and drive to get it done. Whatever drives you to that point, it definitely helps, when you're trying to achieve academic success as well as athletic success.
And you mentioned before how you helped the youth program at Wilton start off, and you were coaching young players. Did that lead you to stay on as that assistant coach once you graduated, or was there a certain moment with another coach that kind of pushed you?
Growing up, I was always involved in whether it was refereeing soccer or coach. I did a lot of basketball coaching. I coached, summer league games and summer camps for lacrosse when I was in high school. And I always enjoyed working with kids. I was always babysitting. And my parents always knew that it would be a good opportunity for me to get involved in some sort of coaching and teaching. And so my dad really pushed me to go into the education world and to pursue whatever I enjoyed. So definitely was working with other people.
So your dad helped you push you into coaching, and then you went to Penn State after a Penn State run, the 1 year as a coach there, and then you came back to your hometown of Wilton, and you were the freshman coach back in 2005. So tell us, and obviously now you've been the head coach in New Canaan for what would have been your 14th season this year. Tell us about how those opening days of your coaching career as a head coach, and maybe a little bit of a difference of how it is to be a freshman coach compared to having the control of a whole varsity team.
Coaching freshmen is interesting because, most kids want to be there, but some kids don't. So you have to really make it enjoyable for everyone, and you have to try and get kids to maybe go out of their comfort zone. And they don't necessarily at the freshman level leave it out on the field. Mm-hmm. And, it's really fun at that age to see the growth throughout just a short season. It's only like an 8-week season. But it is amazing what the kids can do and learn in that amount of time.
And over your 14 years, one thing that has been kind of a standout, and what I've really noticed is it's not just success on the varsity level, it's building those lower level teams. So how have you built success on the freshman, JV, and varsity level and built the program as a whole?
Well, when I came in what it was 2007, I think it was, mm-hmm. We really didn't have the cohesiveness we have now. Our JV coach, Emma Sheeran, she's been with us for 5 years, and our freshman coach was there for 2 years. And then we were supposed to have Coach Mary Claire from field hockey come mm-hmm. in and coach our freshmen. I've been very fortunate to find a lot of coaches with, very good backgrounds, not only with lacrosse, but with just working with kids in general. And last year, our freshman and JV teams did not lose a game. So that was a really successful team last year, both freshman and JV. I think the freshmen tied 2 and then JV tied 1. So it was a very good season overall for our freshman and JV programs.
To say the least. And, a big reason probably why those freshman and JV teams were so successful, obviously, not just because you wanted to build the program and build the culture and get everyone involved, but talk to us a little bit about how you reach with the youth programs here in New Canaan, pre-high school, and maybe how that compared to back in the day when you first got here to now. Because as you mentioned, lacrosse is growing at almost an exponential rate, and, the kids want to get involved younger and younger. Tell us about the youth program in New Canaan.
So when I first started, it was just 5th through 8th grade. We've now started a kindergarten program, which I'm even saying that.
That's and crazy.
This season we had 42 kindergartners signed up for girls lacrosse.
That's crazy.
When I first started, I did an indoor clinic. I had 2 kids at it for a 5th and 6th grade clinic. And I remember which 2 kids it was. It was Olivia Hump and this girl, Jess Carl. Leo Carl's daughter from Carl Chevrolet. Olivia Hump ended up going on to Princeton and being the all-time leading scorer at Princeton. Which
not bad.
And Jess went on to play at Indiana University for club. So it was interesting. We only had 2 kids sign up for a clinic, but it was a lot of fun, that clinic.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that it was just 2 kids. And now we have 40 kindergartners sign up. So I do run fall clinics for the youth. I try and offer a program that every kid can get involved in. It's kindergarten through 8th grade, and I just stagger the times that the kids meet. So it's different age groups at different times. And I do a 5-week program with that. And then in the winter, we do a small little 3 wall ball session at Sax when the basketball team has basketball games. We just we use the gym time there. And then in the spring, I try and do a preseason clinic. So that's just 5th through 8th grade, but it's right before season, and we get our high schoolers involved coaching there. And we usually have about 100 kids out on the turf, 7th and 8th grade, and then another 100 come for 5th and 6th grade.
Wow.
it's just like a 4-day clinic. So I get to know the kids, and it's a lot of fun. And then in the summer, I do camps and clinics and coach club team. So definitely busy. But my kids are getting to the age now. My first grader comes to the fall ball clinics, which is a lot of fun. So it's interesting.
And all your work has definitely paid off. You've been ranked in 2018. You guys were ranked 13th nationally. You were 18th in 2012. You personally have won 6 state championships. You guys were runner-ups last year. You've won over 200 games with losing less than 70, which is just astonishing. And how has the players, we'll get to your alumni in a second, how has the players throughout the years kind of bought on to this atmosphere of girls lacrosse at New Canaan?
It has been an interesting ride throughout the 14 years, and I wouldn't have a program without all of those alumni and without a kid like Katrina Nietzsche. I don't even know if you came across her name. She was a senior my first year coaching. And this kid, she was the fastest kid in the whole school. I got a phone call an hour before the Darien game. It's my first year coaching. I get a phone call, we're about to play Darien, who's been the best team in the S since I was in high school, since 99. And they're like, your goalie is about to get her appendix out. And she was our only goalie in the whole program. So what do I have to do? I have to put my fastest player on the field into the goal because she's the only kid that had any sort of goalie background. To say that she ended up playing goalie the rest of the year for us. She was a senior captain. She went on to the Naval Academy. And she scored the winning goal in the Patriot League championship. And her, selflessness to step in goal, because she didn't want to be there. And for our first year out, putting yourself aside or for my first year out coaching and putting a kid in this situation, she sort of built that team culture and that team atmosphere that, everybody's in this together. And even though she didn't want to be in goal, she went in goal and she put a smile on her face. And at the banquet, she stood up and she said, I learned the best lesson I could ever learn. And ever since that season moving forward, I think all the kids have had this mentality of we're all in this together. And, Katrina's a successful, military academy graduate that is still serving in the Navy and doing all sorts of research and all that good stuff. I'm not even sure what she does, but I know it's amazing. But she was one of our, first people that really put a stamp on the program. And then you got Jenny Simpson, who is now coaching at William & Mary. She was an 09 grad. She played at UNH and did an unbelievable job. And then she went on to Team England and played in England for, I think, 5 years. She won a bronze with Olivia Homp in the, World Games for Team England. And now is coaching at William & Mary down in Virginia. And then it goes on and on. I could go on forever about all these kids who have made such an impact. Sarah Manley, she was another kid that, I saw her on the basketball court. She had never played lacrosse before her freshman year of high school. And she went on to be a top 5 Twarton Award finalist, which is basically like the Heisman of girls.
Yes. Yep.
But both of them had extraordinary careers and, they were top 5 players in the country, which is pretty cool. From one high school. And then you have Elizabeth Miller, who played in the national championship 3 years in a row.
Yeah. Wow.
I think it was 3 years in a row. I went to 2 of them. Yeah, it was 3 because I missed the last one. That was the one I didn't get to go to. But Elizabeth Miller was an absolutely extraordinary defender. who played on BC after Sarah Manley and ended up being Defensive Player of the Year for the NCAA.
Well, that's insane to see to where the program has gotten, where every year you're having recruits who are not just good, but that good. I mean, Sarah Manley, you mentioned BC in 2016. She finished top 5 for the Thornton Award. Olivia went to Princeton. It was 2017, top 5. And then 2 years later, Elizabeth Miller, also going to BC, finished top 5 as well. But not just the superstar players that you've had come through the program, but 25 players in your run have earned All-American honors, 13 of them academic All-American honors, and then another 77 All-State selections and 103 All-FCX selections. So I know the stats and the awards aren't the most important thing to a coach, but when you see a player who you've known for 4 years, maybe even longer, start to rack up these awards, and then they have to make the big decision on college, how excited are you or proud are you then? And do they come and talk to you about the accomplishments or what they want to do in college? And what's that whole process like for you? How exciting is that?
It's great to see, especially when the kids are, really driven to achieve what, they set out to achieve. And a lot of our kids, whether it's, Dartmouth or Duke or Northwestern, end up at a place where they're successful. And I think that's one of the most important things, is recognizing your ability and going to a school where you're going to be able to make an impact. It's one thing to have high expectations, but it's another thing to get in over your head. Mm-hmm. So I think that all of our kids, whether they go D1, D2, D3, or even club, that they continue to play and they continue to enjoy playing. And I think if you're enjoying it and keeping it up, like Jenny Simpson, she played till she was 25. I think that's impressive, that you have a passion for something, that you keep, excitement for the game.
And throughout the years, you have won multiple coaching awards. You are a 3-time Girls Lacrosse Connecticut Coach of the Year, 2-time FCIAC Coach of the Year. What are some personal goals for you? Do you want to win a certain amount of games? Do you want to coach for, X years? Do you have any big personal goals you want?
I'll have to think about that one now. No. Every year I make little goals. I don't necessarily have a set goal on I want to coach for 30 years or something like that. I think it's more effective to make small goals and recognize what your team is able to accomplish and what things need to happen even before season to get that done. I mean, I start working on the schedule in October. Wow. And there's a lot more that goes into a high school season than just March till June. And I love the process. I love, watching teams come together. And the 2018 team was probably the best team that I've ever seen sort of meld together at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. There were points where, I had Sarah Manley and Olivia Hump. I think it was, I don't remember what year it was. Was it 20? It was 2012. 2012, I think we only had one loss on the season. But our 2018 season, we had a lot of ups and downs, and no one was expecting us to do what we did in the state tournament run. Braden Dial and Carly Bucci and Julia Ojimic, and Lee Charlton and Brooke Dean, Cameron Blair. I didn't want to forget any of the, who else was in that group? I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. I hope I didn't. And Gianna Bruno, who's playing at Colby now.
Yes.
But that group, it was a tough start, but they really came together, and we lost to Wilton in the FCIAC semifinals. During the FCIAC playoffs, we came out in the quarterfinals against Wilton and beat them by like 4 or 5. And then we faced Darien in the semifinals, who we had lost to by quite a bit in regular season. And we came out and beat them in the semifinals, and then we beat Ridgefield handedly in the finals. So it was a fun season. And I know you guys asked me to get pictures, so I have a picture from after that state championship game that's pretty neat, and it has all the families too. It's not just our team, but it's our whole entire sort of lacrosse community that came together in that state championship run.
I mean, you make a really great point that a state championship run isn't just the coaches or the players, and it's not just from the start of regular season to the end of it. It's a full year process, and, you know, the parents have to be bought in and encouraging their kids. And it takes a whole community, as you said, to make this happen. And that's great to see you appreciating all of them. So you were talking about goal setting and how you set smaller goals throughout the year, or I guess at the beginning of the year. What were some goals maybe for some certain players you wanted to see, who you were really looking forward to see grow this year, or maybe just some team goals? What were some goals that you had maybe started writing in your head or writing somewhere that you wanted to achieve for this upcoming season?
Every year we do a goal setting as a team, just so I know where the kids' heads are. But, you know, everybody always says win the FCX and win the states, yes. Which is always the goal. But specifically this senior class, I think I just wanted to see them grow as a group. And between Jane, Natalie, Quincy, Carney, Lauren, Liz, and Olivia, that they came together as a whole and just got our program moving back in the right direction, like the 2018 and 2019 team had done.
Well, it's inspirational to see how you are really building a family and a community, as bonding with your players as well. You've had so many players with great success, but you still are cheering on each and every one of them and want to see them do good and make an impact somewhere, which I thought that's something very inspirational for kids to do. Make an impact where you can, and don't overextend. Ian, any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think Cortland wrapped it up really nicely, and I think we were really looking forward. As you mentioned, this team came on late last year and really started to grow in a way that you hadn't seen before and come together, and I think we were really excited to see what they had this year. But regardless, whenever you're back out there, whether if we do get a season this year or next year, the team, I bet, is going to have that same chemistry that you were talking about. And on one last note, I'm also really happy you're my health teacher this quarter. Or this semester, I should say. So, yeah, I submitted.
Grade's going to go up a few points after this one.
Submitted the project. Good so work. I think it's great. I know teaching is a big part of, obviously, we talked about academics, and I know it's big to you. So thank you for giving us not only your work on the field with your players, but also in the classroom as well.
Well, thank you, guys.
Yep, thanks so much for joining us. And everyone watching, just a reminder to subscribe for our YouTube channel, because we'll be doing these all springs with a number of different coaches. Thanks again to Miss Woods for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks so much, guys.